of multiple choices. You know, these third-party candidates are being smeared. The independent candidates are being smeared. Anyone challenging Joe Biden, anyone outside the status quo, the smears are coming from different mainstream media outlets. But now there's the outlet Mother Jones, which I thought was above all of that, but apparently is not anymore. A lot of these outlets have sold out. They're like all mainstream talking points now. They are actually criticizing the rally that's coming up on Tuesday. So I told you guys I'll be going to DC. I'm leaving early, bright and early tomorrow morning to go to DC. And I'm going to cover the Peace in Ukraine event in DC. So there are a number of speakers at this event. So I told you guys this, right? So you would think people would want peace. Apparently not Mother Jones. Mother Jones put out this article, and I really can't. I really know. As a presidential candidate, Cornel West aligns himself with far left radicals. The Green Party contender is hobnobbing with China apologists and partners of Russia propaganda outlets. This was written by David Corn. He's the Washington, D.C. bureau chief. So, of course, you don't get to have that position without being a mouthpiece for the State Department. Basically, that's how that works. But what's weird is that a couple of weeks ago, there were news outlets that said Cornel West was far right, running a far right campaign. Now they're saying Cornel West is aligning himself with far left rat. Which is it? They're just smearing just to smear. So, of course, you'll see on here, there's Dr. West, there's Lee Camp, there's Claudia de la Cruz, who was just here recently. Also, Medea Benjamin, Code Pink, they'll be speaking at this event as well. He goes on to say, let me actually jump down to this part here. West is scheduled. Can I make it bigger? There we go. West is scheduled to headline a DC forum on October 3rd that aims to spur opposition to the Biden administration's support of the Ukrainian government's fight against the Russian invasion. Part of the global mobilization of self-described peace groups, the event is being co-sponsored by an outfit long tied to communist organizations. Here comes the McCarthyism. And West will share the stage with speakers from the farthest side of the left, including some who have worked for Russian state media. Let me interrupt that there. They're talking about RT, which a lot of journalists had a show on RT at some point or another because they could not get those jobs in mainstream media or did not want to work in mainstream media. Let's all remember Chris Hedges, Terrell Ventura, Jesse Ventura, Abby Martin. Like, a lot of people had shows on RT, and those shows were actually really good. But they won't call those like Russian state media. See how they try to frame it? According to promotional material for the forum, the other participants will be Claudia de la Cruz, Eugene Puryear, Medea Benjamin, and Lee Camp. First of all, Medea Benjamin is very well known in the DC circuit, right? Because she's a part of Code Pink. She participates in a number of protests, anti-war protests. She's known for that. It's not like this is a secret. So I don't know what the gotcha is here with her either. And Lee Camp. De la Cruz is presently the 2024 presidential candidate of the small far left party for socialism and liberation. The PSL split from the Marxist-Leninist Workers' World Party in 2004, and one of its founders has declared, "We are communists." One of the founders. The party calls for the revolutionary overthrow of capitalism and denounces reformist hopes for a kinder, gentler capitalism. You see this, how this guy is a punk clown? This guy is actually trying to defend capitalism. You see how he's... Let's continue. The PSL has supported the North Korean regime and its pursuit of nuclear weapons, and has also hailed the Chinese Communist Party, defending it against various charges of human rights violations. Ay, ay, ay. Here they go with Sputnik. Brian Becker, a co-founder of PSL, used to co-host a show on Radio Sputnik, a Moscow-created propaganda network. Everything's, by the way, anything related to Russia is propaganda to them. Just keep that in mind. I want to make sure I put the other thing there. There we go. Per year, a co-host of the forum was the PSL's vice presidential candidate in 2008 and 2016. He too once hosted a show on Radio Sputnik, which is radio and digital outlet of Russia Today, the Kremlin-controlled media agency that directs the RT television network. Camp, a comedian and far-left podcaster, had a show on RT America until the cable network shuttered. He blamed the U.S. government war machine for RT America's demise. But that's exactly what happened. After the war started with Russia and Ukraine, that's exactly what happened. That's why RT fell apart. I remember when all those people lost their shows. Medea Benjamin, the other co-host for the event, is a founder of Code Pink, a longtime opponent of U.S. military intervention overseas. She is scheduled to co-host a fundraiser for West prior to the forum. Code Pink was the subject of a recent New York Times investigation that reported that this anti-war group has received significant financial support from a pro-China tech mogul named Neville Roy Singham, who lives in Shanghai, and that the group has defended or downplayed China's human rights violations. That's an exaggeration, one. And two, are we going to talk about how the Biden administration, the Trump administration, both administrations have downplayed the human rights violations against the Palestinians? Nope, can't talk about that though. The Times said that its reporters had tracked hundreds of millions of dollars to groups linked to Mr. Singham that mix progressive advocacy with Chinese government talking points. See what I told you? Anything outside the State Department? As an example, it noted that Code Pink once criticized China's rights record, but now defends its internment of the predominantly Muslim Uyghurs, which human rights experts have labeled a crime against humanity. Actually, and I interviewed Aaron Mate about this back in the day when he was covering this. The State Department confirmed that there was no evidence to prove that there was a genocide of the Uyghurs. You can Google this yourself. Here we go. Singham, who is married to Code Pink co-founder Jody Evans, also has funded the People's Forum, a New York-based meeting space that hosts radical left lectures and events that De La Cruz and other PSL activists have co-managed. Code Pink, the People's Forum, PSL, Benjamin, Evans, De La Cruz, Perrier, Camp, Becker, and others signed an open letter accusing the newspaper, that's the New York Times, of engaging in McCarthyism and joining the right-wing extremists to use intimidation tactics to smear Code Pink, the People's Forum, and other advocates for change. A spokesperson for Code Pink tells Mother Jones, "We do not spread talking points from foreign governments," she adds. The notion that we are influenced by external political entities or governments is not only false, it's insulting. We've always been an independent voice for peace, and we refuse to be labeled otherwise. The Chinese government's violation of the Uyghurs' human rights is of concern to us, and we join the call for justice for the Uyghurs. At the same time, we call out the U.S. government, which is using the human rights of the Uyghurs as a tool to drive war with China instead of a human rights issue that needs to be addressed as such. But as I said before, the State Department, just FYI in reference to the genocide, the State Department declared that they did not have enough evidence to prove that there was an actual genocide. The October 3rd panel opposing U.S. military assistance to Ukraine is sponsored by Code Pink, Peace in Ukraine, a collection of anti-war groups, and the Answer Coalition. Answer is an anti-war outfit that emerged in the run-up to the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003 and was organized by the Workers' World Party. What's wrong with that? We're going to talk about the war, the U.S. invasion in Iraq. We were lied about the war in Iraq. So that talking point isn't actually something that would turn someone like me off. That talking point would actually turn someone like me on to that organization. A small political sect that split from the Socialist Workers' Party to support the Soviet invasion of Hungary in 1956. This is such a mess. Let's go into this part right here. With his participation in the October 3rd event, West has allied himself with a small coterie of far leftists, some whom promote extremist ideology and some whom have voiced support for authoritarian regimes or partnered with Russia-controlled media operations. I want to remind you, when they keep calling these people far leftists or whatever, the thing is, a lot of these people supported Bernie Sanders campaigns. And what you have to remember is that Dr. West was a part of Bernie Sanders campaigns, So why are they trying to make it seem like it's so mysterious now that Dr. West is in community with people like Medea Benjamin or someone like Ali Camp? This is not a new thing. They're doing this as a smear. They're doing this to try to scare people. This is some type of McCarthyism, as I mentioned to Anya a minute ago when she was on here. This type of McCarthyism that seems to be making its way back through the United States is something that journalists and outlets like Mother Jones, apparently now, they're using to scare people, to intimidate people, and to try to find a way to shut those voices down. West and his campaign did not respond to multiple requests for comment. West and his backers might argue that he is merely joining forces with those who also oppose U.S. policies that he deems dangerous. Yet when a presidential candidate takes a stage, he or she can expect to be judged by those who share the platform. Again, as I said before, it's not like he's never seen these people. He is familiar with Medea Benjamin. He's familiar with Lee Camp. Like, it's not like he's never been in community with these people. They're trying to make it seem like this is a new thing. The current lineup for this forum places West in company of radicals, Chinese apologists, and chums of Russia's propaganda machine. Giving his status as a prominent public intellectual and academic, his headlining appearance boosts the standing of his co-speakers and the organizing outfits. Choosing to appear with these people is a significant campaign decision. So let me make something really clear. We'll go back to the top of this article. Look at this. Mother Jones asking for money. So this is again written by David Korn. Let's be very clear here. When has Dr. West said something differently about this war in Ukraine? See, they don't even want you to talk about both sides of the war. They only want you to say Russia is bad and the U.S. needs to give Ukraine as much money as possible. Anything outside of that, they're going to call you a Putin puppet, a Russian propagandist. They don't want you to hear different parts of the story that I think are very important. All these people have been fighting for this. Medea Benjamin ain't new. She's been around the block. She's not new. Medea Benjamin been doing this for years. Code Pink's been doing this for years. Cornel West has been fighting against war and especially the imperialism for decades. This is not new. They're trying to make you think it's new to turn people away from the event and the campaign. This is a smear piece. That's what this is about. So again, make up your mind, journalist. First, you say that he's running far right campaign. Now you're saying he's aligned himself with far left radicals. Well, which is it? How are you going to be far right and far left at the same time? David Korn, Washington, D.C. Bureau Chief will call David cornball and leave it at that. This is just the beginning. There will be more to come. There will be more to come. Anyway, I will be at the event. When I saw that article from Mother Jones, I said, whatever. I will be at the event. The urgency of pursuing peace in Ukraine event with keynote speaker Cornel West. I will be there live on the ground. I'm heading out tomorrow morning, so I'll be covering this live Tuesday night. And yeah, and I hope to see you there. Those of you that live in the area, if you can come out, I hope to see you. But I'll be there. And if you want to enter, you do need to register, though. So let me put the link here. Because I said, fuck all that. You know, like when I saw that thing from Mother Jones, I was like, are you serious? Like, are you serious? Get out of here, man. So yeah, it should be a pretty cool event. And it says the launch will feature an evening talk, including Dr. West, co-executive director of the People's Forum, Claudia De La Cruz, Medea Benjamin, Eugene Pierre, and Lee Camp, followed the next morning by a National Advocacy Day. While some advocates will be advocating on Capitol Hill, local constituents will be calling in or joining the DC meetings by Zoom. These events are designed to educate, inspire, and mobilize people to action. We must get serious about putting this Congress and administration on notice that they must reverse the present course, which is taking us to the precipice of a nuclear confrontation. I'll be there. Damn it. What a mess. I don't know if anyone else is covering it, but I'll be there. Let me go to some of the comments here. Oh, I said that already. Sorry. Thank you for the super chat, Roger. Multiple choices, but remove party labels. I think I said that too. Thank you, John. What about the Dems replacing Biden with Newsom? What will that do? I mean, it doesn't change my decision. I still wouldn't be supporting the Democratic Party regardless. It also doesn't look too good for Newsom right now, considering the fact that he was just outed on Twitter for making it so that workers that go on strike can't file for unemployment. So Newsom's not looking too good right now. Not looking too good. Boop, 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 boop. All right, Jamie. Yeah.